Welcome back. Let us continue, shall we? I have a feeling we're in the final portion of this case. So, let's deal with the consequences of our actions, shall we? I'm going to try and finish this all in one game. One video, but time to deal with the consequences of breaking and entering. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Suzato-san took a deep breath and gently slid back the bolt. What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yeah, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? You heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship? Yes. It appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder! Dressed all in black. You are the devil. Sorry? Me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He's a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man? Ah, and he has stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil. It doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. Gotta find a solution. Immediately. Just need to keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating. Don't touch my things. Do you want me to show you where crawfish hibernates? Hiya! What the... Suzato! Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think you're doing? Wow, everyone's attacking me. And I was just starting to think she was my friend. Is there anyone who can help me out of this mess? Nah. Nothing to see there. Miss Pavlova, can I get out? Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but get out now. I just needed to investigate in here to help understand what happened to... Get out! Ah, it's no use. She's not going to listen. To find someone with will. Nothing to see here. Please, just give me a little more time. I do nothing for you. Except show you way to a ship's prison cell. Ah, thanks, but no thanks. But I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone. And trespassing? And stowing away? Well, you know, Sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and, well... Enough! You are guilty! Ship's cell is only place fit for you. Come on, there has to be someone! Some savior to rescue me through this crisis! Inspector Hosonaga? You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry, we're just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I need some help here. Save her to rescue me for this crisis. Suppose that would be... this adorable door hanger. What the... what are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles would feel like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounds. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved. By me, naturally. Huh. What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanation exists. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Here we go. Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everybody knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who is inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories. Ah, a locked room. That is point. The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way that bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. Yeah. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Something's on your mind. Mr. Sholmes, what do you mean? You you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. Can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes? What are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger. But fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold. Yah! Ah! What the? Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably. Yeah, mood. Where the fuck did that come from? You okay, mate? Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Hmm? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you would have to call it the striped band. Wouldn't you? You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explained the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No! She's turned white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. The dirt is in the details. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi. Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long thread in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. It begins. So the intruder's identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death had nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. It is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? Oh, that's an obvious move. No, don't look at me. It has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloth skin. Easy for me to say. Evidently after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Don't know where my voice went there. Beloved speckled snake. That is certainly a conclusion. How Mr. Asogi died. Given the first conclusion, this one seems kind of obvious, right? Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of its victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as a fact, we could reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, how could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. God, I love this crime scene vision here. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't. It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound he heard minutes before his end. This was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. Train? Train? Indeed, you'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. I would mean she was whistling for it back before Asogi died. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training? It's not true! Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. and its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor man's young life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Are you sure about that? This concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you will observe a saucer of milk. Promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Susato sees. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course. What's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see? So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was really an example. The logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah. Yeah, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling. But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There is one other thing. You have more. Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones at these cabins. Then it should try harder. Please don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? Shazam! You've done it again! Your handguns are gone! Where did they go? Fear not, I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Please. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Here we go. Let's try this again. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those hard events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Cosmo-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. Aching heart. Let's see. She really does look troubled. Yes, it's hard to believe she's putting that expression on to fool us. If you look closely, it's almost like she's actually staring at something. At what, do you think? Perhaps something's physically causing her pain. We should have a closer look. Alright, how do I do this again? Oh, gamer, oh hello there. Gamer keys, gamer keys, gamer keys. Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! Looks like a very painful wound. Looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently too. Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here. Claw scratch?
Yes!
Bang! Yes, when you recall those hard events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch? Sometime last night? Ah! She's always hiding that hand from us. When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. When I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ooh, she looking. As I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. Doubt. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except... snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. Okay, what can we need to look at? Gamer keys? Seaman Stroganoff, obviously. There's no doubt, is there? She looked in this direction. Straight at Seaman Stroganoff. Well, they do seem to be friends of sorts. I can't imagine how he could possibly fit through that ventilator. Don't forget that I managed to fit inside Cosmo's trunk when he first boarded this ship. It's a different matter entirely, Naruhodo. I would ask what that proves, but I think an equivocal little smile would be more effective. Yeah. Well put. Gamer keys? Let's at least examine you before I go looking. Why look at this creature? More its stripes stand out. It's a very impressive snake, isn't it? Oh yes, it really is. It seems to be doing its best to squeeze this poor sailor's head until it bursts. Yeah, that's the other problem with this deduction. not going to point out. Probably not yet. Maybe later. The fact that this snake seems to be a constrictor and not a venomous snake. Yeah, it's a terrifying sight, and slightly heartwarming at the same time. Why? How? Anyway, it would be a good idea not to get too close. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not get close at all. Clearly, she was looking at the teapot. Clearly. Ah, now I see it. I have a feeling that it was this teapot that Miss Pavlova's eyes flickered over to before. You think this is the friend she's been talking about? Well, we're all different, aren't we? Whatever we might say about it, that's the way she feels. I don't think I'll say anything about it then. You and the teapot can discuss it instead. Oh, wait, that's not what I meant. Oh, no. There's something in the hand. Oh. Look at the photograph in this frame. This would be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? And yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we better take a closer look at this. Oh. That must be a stage costume she's wearing. It's quite stunning. I should like to have something like that. And she's wearing the 20,000 rubles on her head as well. Look! It's called a tiara, Naruhodo-san. And you shouldn't think of it purely in terms of its value. She must be a strong-willed woman. Turn her back on the world stage and run away all on her own. Agreed. Gamer keys? Adorable kitten. Look at the little cat Miss Pavlova is cuddling here. Oh, what a cute little kitten. Could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? For the blackest outfit. A black kitten. And from the look of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it. Let's...
Yes!
There we go. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no! Oh no! God, I love the artistry of these scenes. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought this animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled bag. Whereas regrettably... There. The voice is going. This specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? That got a reaction. No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's soft skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Sorry about that. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sholm's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something. I thought deduction was his specialty. Maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Let's find out, shall we? Gamer keys. Ooh, what is this? Gamer keys. Let's examine it. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. That looks like a handle at one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently. How is that a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it. That sounds positively adorable. Correct. Oh, gamer. Gamer keys.
Yes!
Yes, that thing you were trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled bear. Ah. It was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. My Sholmes voice is going. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can be only one answer to that. After a feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. Yeah! A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Oh, photograph of Miss Pavlova and Darka entered into the court record. Interesting. This was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand, and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared. Through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty. My beloved kitten. That's better. Different deduction theme, let's go. Moving on, come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. I love how everyone reacts to Sholmes' finger snaps and shit. It's such a cool touch. How did this young man lose his life? And why? Sorry, just to stop the fanboy out every now and then. According to the data of which I have been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. Ah. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Mr. Sholmes says it is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right. Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Oh, E. Where is it? Back. Back.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. That seeming Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact... tell of this. I can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no! Could there be? Yes. An examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Cosmo died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something. Or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Cosmo and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh, yeah. A bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Cosmo-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. He was quite suave and elegant. I need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Ooh, well? Scuff mark on Cosmo's shoes and a bell. That's the curious thing here, is that little kitty had a bell on her. Sorry. So is this it?
Yes!
Boom! Yes! An examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed. Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. Smooth transition. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Ah. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence and that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. Cosmo-sama really tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But if this part of Mr. Shom's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she can just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Do the obvious gamer keys? Gamer keys? Not the tiara, is it? Maybe the only other thing we can examine. Examine the waste paper basket. This is where Miss Pavlova hid her friend. That's right, and it wasn't a snake after all. No, it was that little kitten she calls Darka. Not that it's anywhere to be seen now. It seems to have let itself out of the case and gone exploring. I expect it's wrapped itself around someone's head somewhere, trying to make a new friend. Either that or it's scratching their hand to pieces. Point is, where has it got to? Gamer keys? What else is there over here? Actually, something in here now? That'd be a hell of a thing if there was. It's a wastepaper basket? Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Ah. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. Well, that's gotta be the answer, right? It's only other choice. Somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. It hasn't been dropped, Naruhodo-san, it's been placed. Starting to sound like Mr. Sholmes. You really are. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. Gamer keys? And it should be...
Yes!
Boom! It is the wastepaper basket this time. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that wastepaper basket. Ah. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. Well, that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely, we found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the wastepaper basket in your cabin? Yeah. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. Evidence linking Miss Pavlova to little glass bell. That would be... this.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, every time you do it makes you laugh. You can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question. God, I love how everyone reacts to the finger snaps. It's great. Second best finger snap out there. Best finger snap out there being Library of Ruina. Truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble. Your absent feline friend, Darka. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. All the ways to die. It's not a malicious death. It's not a murder. Just like that. It's over. Why don't you just tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darker with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So, I listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure. Someone was there. He must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin. Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. Producing her favorite toy, I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She did not return. So the faint whistling sound Cosmo-sama wrote about, his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I said to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Uh-oh. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. And afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Cosmo was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Birdie is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. Mr. Sogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet. A combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. I know she disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is as insufferably reckless as I am. I said restless, not reckless, but it's the same hat. Well, he knows something about himself, at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man at the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? Where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship? You look surprisingly calm with this. Whoa, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Piroshko. What? What? That snake belongs to you. He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him here. Yeah, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend, without someone who understands. Don't you find someone a little more human, who understands you better? What, my dear burly fellow? A gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Roscoe does not have venom. He is harmless. Very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. You have an odd grandmother. It's venomless. I love how his expression gets serious when he's... And yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Ah, like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Roscoe eats mouses. Big, fat, round the mouses. Ah. Oh, so... is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Things says top of the food chain, like the look in their eyes right now. It refuses to drink milk. Can't hear a whistle. Can't climb up a bell cord. It's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Roscoe has nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. It's a tragic accident. Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you've found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life, going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies. Then, no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But... what are you talking about, Miss Migatoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. It seemed like there was a lot that happened. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh! I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Thanks. Ah, not again. When did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. Key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. Truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. We'll chase down the truth next time.